time. It's time for the Billy Flynn Experience.
Thank you so much for joining us again to another Billy Flynn Experience. I am your host, Billy Flint, and you are coming live here from Germany. Hope everyone's week has started on a good note. I notice the weather is getting a little crazy over here in Germany. One day it's cold and rainy. Next day it feels like summer again. So I don't know what's going on with that. But anyways, thank you so much for joining in tonight for tonight's show, of course. As the show's title goes, Kanye West and the problem with drink champs. I don't know for those that are out there that don't know what Drink Champs is. It is hosted by a gentleman, a veteran rapper, goes by the name of Nori. That's short for Noriega. And he is, again, he's a veteran hip-hop artist. Coming from the duel of Capone and Noriega. They were very, very, very popular during the 90s. Considered the golden age of hip-hop, but so he was, this is actually Nori's third time having Kanye West on his show. As of recent, and I know in my last couple of my last podcasts, I was talking about the situation that the firestorm that started from Kanye West and his statement. Well, actually, it started from the White Lives Matter t-shirt. That started a firestorm. And it seems as though it's spreading, and it's all over social media, all over the platforms. And he is definitely a hot topic. But as the news came in about a couple hours ago, before I was set up to do tonight's show, we have which is, I'll get to Noriega and his Drink Champs because this story has a lot to do with it. And it says, of course, the George Floyd family, or his daughters, or daughter, but more or less what it says is that George Floyd's family has filed a $250 million lawsuit against Kanye West over his fentanyl claim on Drink Champs. Okay, once again, I'm going to take it back to his the t-shirt that started it all off, and the controversy around that, in particular with a lot of African Americans being upset that Kanye West would wear a White Lives Matter t-shirt. Yeah, all over a t-shirt. Not stepping back and realizing that, Kanye West has interracial children. No one stopped to even think about that. That there is a possibility that was one of the reasons why Kanye West wanted to, present himself in this particular attire with this message across the front. We all know that anything that is posted on the internet, it is forever. You can't scrub it, because once it's posted by a celebrity or someone who is famous or have even the most mediocre notoriety, anything posted on the internet, it will get screenshot, downloaded, and saved on someone's hard drive. So. But again, this lawsuit from the family, and it's stating that over the claims that Kanye West said that George Floyd initially died because of the fentanyl in his system. So what did I do? I simply researched it, and it is true. It's on the internet. For anybody to research the information, George Floyd had fentanyl in his system, in his body. Now, maybe the whole storm behind the debate on whether or not it was the force of the police and unnecessary roughness over his arrest. But because of the fact that many people don't do the research, they don't know. They just take anything and everything that is posted on the internet or by a news source, no matter how accredited they may say they are, but people tend to follow whatever is being said by this figure of authority, whatever the news source is. And everybody bought into this lie, this propaganda. And of course, like I said, I'm getting way off of what I wanted to actually talk about, but it struck me rather odd when this news report popped up, and it said the family is going to sue Kanye West over his statement. When he actually, what he said is it's true. So we're going to segue again, based, that Kanye West has been in the media. He's definitely trending all over the internet. And again, Nori had Kanye West recently on the Drink Champs, which incidentally has been deleted off of YouTube. And taking off, the interview has been taken away or off the archives of. I'm trying to think of the what is the name of I can't remember the name of Diddy's network. I gotta find this. Is crazy. Wait a minute. Anyways, because I don't really look at anything I don't really look at anything that Diddy does as far as his conglomerate, his businesses or whatever, because that's a whole nother podcast. I'm gonna get into that. But anyways, Drink Champs was on YouTube on P. Diddy's Love, whatever his name is. It's on his network. Revolt. Damn it, there it is. It just popped up in my head. Okay. Revolt. That is Diddy's network, where he has programs, other podcasts, and I guess music videos or whatever. But anyways, the Drink Champs show was pulled from the archive from the network, and it also has been taken off of YouTube and on wherever other platform that they have this show premiering. But my thing is that it's too late, because the first time that Kanye West was on the Drink Champs, the numbers went through the roof. The second time, the numbers went through the roof. This third last time, numbers went through the roof because it's a hot subject. Everybody wants to hear what Kanye West wants to say. So it's a hot subject, which I can understand. So Nori has gone on this, I don't know what you want to call it. He's gone on this speaking on radio, on terrestrial radio, and also on other podcasts. And he's basically been speaking out on what had taken place on his Drink Champs show. And of course, Kanye West and the whole issue circulating around the so-called anti-Semitic statements that Kanye West was saying. I myself watched, it was 3 hours long. I watched all 3 hours, of course, because I wanted to see. I pulled some of the audio for this show because, again, because of what, by the way, it's not really taken off of YouTube. They just taken it off YouTube because, like I said, many people have the technology now where you can actually download anything from YouTube. So even though they said it's taken off, it's done. It definitely, someone downloaded it, and it's being passed around on different media or different social media platforms because it's such a hot topic. Why wouldn't anybody want to do that? So, of course, that's what's taking place. But anyways, Nori has been making his rounds on other people's podcasts, other different podcasts, basically apologizing or just basically apologizing for what Kanye West has said. But the one thing that struck me, and like I said, this is from a podcast he was on. I think it was yesterday. And I want you to hear this. And this is what the title of the show is basically circulating around. Kanye West and the problem with Drink Champs. Being that Nori is the host. But the whole premise around the show is that celebrities, actors, musicians, rappers go onto the show. Mainly go onto the show. They get drunk. They smoke cannabis. And they have this podcast, this live podcast. So the whole idea behind it, like I said, the whole premise behind it is that you get your guest drunk. That is like a serious tongue twister. The whole premise behind the show is you get your guests drunk. And of course, drinking alcohol will loosen you up, and the truth serum, it comes out. And that's pretty much what the whole the ideology behind his show. It's just to bring people on, get them drunk, get them high, and then they start talking. And that's what the popularity of the show is. So everyone's going to tune in when Nori, posts the information on what the next podcast is or who the next guest will be, everyone tunes in by the millions. So, but I want to play you, like I said, I want to play you this. Again, this is Nori, and he's on, again, I don't remember whose podcast he was on, but he's on someone's podcast, and this is what he said.
I got to the parts where you guys did try to push back. I mean, listen, you guys went the homie approach of like, hey, but what about, which is what you should do because he's your homie.
Right.
Like it makes sense that was your route. Do you feel though? My only criticism would be this, Nori. There was one part where you trying to really push back at the end, and I was like, oh man, Nori's too drunk. He's too drunk.
I was too drunk. I was too By the way, we're called drink champs, guys. We're not political champs. You know what I'm saying? We're called drink champs. We're here to get these people inebriated. We're here to have, because that's when you get these stories that you guys love so much, is when I get them drunk. So unfortunately, sometimes I get drunk with them.
Okay. There you have it. And my whole thing is as if Nori will actually listen to this podcast. But my thing is, if you can't control your guest or you can't control your environment on your show, maybe you need to stop drinking. I understand the show is called Drink Champs, as he so eloquently explained. That is the premise of the show, is that you get your guests drunk. Why? Because the people want to see and hear their guest or the guest on the show. They want to hear, and those that are watching the actual footage of the podcast, they want to see the guests open up and say some outrageous, crazy things that they normally won't say. But the one thing that I can say about Kanye West, again, I seen all of the whole 3 hours of it. I sat and watched it because I wanted to watch it, and I wanted to walk away with my own thoughts of it. I didn't want to go on YouTube and listen to someone else's podcast and possibly walk away kind of biased because based on what someone else's idea is. So I wanted to, as a content creator, I wanted to actually get the information myself, do my own research, and then formulate my own ideas from it. So, and again, that's what I did. Kanye West, what he said during that podcast, other than using, because he was talking about pretty much the industry and how the industry is basically, the music industry, the movie industry, the banking industry, the lawyers. And he was saying that there is a particular group or a particular, ethnic group or whatever that pretty much runs all of the entertainment industry. And it is pretty much true. The Jewish people do have a monopoly on the music industry. They came in, they started it, they formulated it. Their business model is based on how it was set up from the start. So for the longest period of times, people or performers, entertainers, and writers, and singers, they were being ripped off because they didn't know how the industry was crafted. The whole music industry was set up specifically in a way that they will make the majority of the 90% of the money will go to the record companies or other entities involved in the making and processing of music. All of the top execs, including the lawyers and the managers. So we're not even, excluding the executives or the label heads, the owners. But the people, the umbrella below them, everyone is set up to make money off the artists. So the whole thing was to keep the artists ignorant of the industry, right down to the contracts. And my thing is this: Kanye West he is not the only person that has been speaking on this. And this is what I say this out of a concern, like in my last podcast, which is titled Mr. West, Protect Your Neck, because it seems as though, based on what he has been saying, everyone is coming after him. And again, I see nothing wrong with what he has been saying. I mean, if you sit back and listen to what he's saying, and because of the fact that he's on medication, yes, I understand that, people take that as, oh, he's crazy, or he's out of his mind, or he's off his meds, which is a very mean thing to say. Because as Dave Chappelle said, that's dismissive to just call someone crazy. It holds no merit. And Kanye West is far from being crazy if you actually take the time, because he has a way with explaining certain things that a lot of his thoughts are jumbled up, and it comes out, kind of just spills out of his mouth. But a lot of times he says a lot of intelligent things if you sit and listen. So, as I said, Kanye West is not the only one that has been speaking about the music industry and the people that is running the show, the top execs, the ones that built this infrastructure. And the two artists that come to my mind is Michael Jackson and Prince. Just before they died, they were telling a lot of shocking information about the music industry and how these labels take advantage of the artist. Right down to the point that the artists that create their own music and write their own lyrics, that the record labels somehow end up owning their masters and their whole catalog. Which, again, really struck me odd. And I'm sitting up here trying to find, because again, I did the research and I said, okay, I know, Michael Jackson spoke on this, and also Prince spoke on this many times. So I found some audio on Michael Jackson and how he basically said the same thing right before he died, before he was murdered. I think he was murdered. But again, I have the audio. So I want you to listen, just take your time, listen to this audio.
Sony, being the artist that I am, at Sony, I've generated several $1 billion for Sony. Several billion. And, They really thought that my mind is always on music and dancing, and it usually is, but they never thought that this performer, myself, would outthink them, we can't let them get away with what they're trying to do, because now I'm a free agent. Yeah. I just owe Sony one more album. It's just a box set, really. It's with 2 new songs, which I've written ages ago. Because every album that I record, I write, like, literally, I'm telling you the truth, I write at least 120 songs every album I do. So I can do the box set and just give them any 2 songs. So I'm leaving Sony a free agent. Owning half of Sony. So I own half of Sony's publishing, and I'm leaving them, and they're very angry at me because of it. But I just did good business, you know. So the way they get revenge is to try and destroy my album. And Tommy Mottola is a devil.
Respect!
I'm not supposed to say what I'm going to say right now, but I have to let you in on a secret. Please don't videotape what I'm going to say, okay? Turn that off, please. Know what? I don't mind. Tape it. Mariah Carey, after divorcing Tommy, came to me crying. She was crying so badly I had to hold her. And she said to me that this is an evil man. And Michael, this man follows me, she said. He taps her phones. And he's very, very evil, and she doesn't trust him. And he is a horrible human being. And we have to continue our drive until he's terminated.
Okay, that was Michael Jackson. He was in London promoting his I guess his farewell tour. This Is It. So he was over in the UK. He was over there and he was promoting the concert. And he went on this whole soliloquy on the music industry. And the key thing he said, he was leaving Sony, walking away with half of their catalog. And that in itself explains everything. Michael Jackson would be worth more if he was dead. Yeah. So again, Prince, I have audio of Prince, and he explains pretty much the same thing. And it's so ironic because Prince and Michael Jackson was like rivals. But yet they were saying the same thing, and they were trying to get back what was due to them. Their artistic work. And Michael Jackson was a straight up businessman. Straight up businessman. The information that he knew, because he'd been in the industry since he was a child. So yeah, it was important. I don't know. it's a sad situation when Michael Jackson died. Because Sony got back their catalogs. 50% that Michael Jackson owed. Sony got it back. So we have, again, Prince. Prince was saying pretty much the same thing. I want you to listen to this.
The reason why it became such a big deal back then is ever since my third album, I wasn't really taking large advances from the recording companies. I was recording the albums myself in my own studio. So the way I looked at it, I owned the work because I paid for it. And I did all the work. I created it, so I felt like it should belong to me. That said, the companies felt otherwise. And they would always hold this contract up and say, well, you signed it. And I say, well, I understand that. It's not like I want to leave. I just want to, talk about this thing and see if we can't make it more fair. Of course, they wouldn't change, because if they changed, they wouldn't really exist. And that's kind of the situation we're in right today. They're not going to exist much longer.
I don't spend time in a place. I let myself move on. Right today I could sit and say I have animosity towards a
record company.
Yeah, a company that owns the rights to my work. They're businessmen. They're doing what it is that makes their business successful, and I'm also allowed to do things that make my business successful. And for me, that would be to own my work. So I just chose to step away from that. And knowing that, I sent a nice letter to the then president, because they changed a lot weekly during that time. And I told him that I loved him and that, I was glad that I had this experience,
Some people find it odd that when we win anything in this game, we give praise back unto God. Well, in somebody else's game, any triumph makes us feel blessed. When it's your game, you make the rules, everything comes easy. All your friends are in key positions, so when you decide you don't want to play anymore, you never leave empty-handed. Can somebody say golden parachute? Well, it's not your game. You didn't make the rules, so everything comes hard. And as long as you're signed to a contract, you're going to take a minority share of the winnings. A select few of us will do well. The majority will not. So as a people, we'll be considered a minority. But stop. Let's take a moment and look at yourselves. There's nothing minor about you. You are a blessed people. You're the most talented on earth, and you are still grateful. That is why upon winning in their game, you always thank God. Tonight I would like to ask one favor of you. Imagine what we'll all be like in our own game.
Same thing. Prince is saying the same thing that Michael Jackson has been saying, or Michael Jackson did say, and the same thing Kanye West is saying right now. Same exact thing. And it's a battle over, not only is it a battle over freedom of speech and controlling your own narrative or your own ideas, but controlling the very thing that you create, or the very thing that artists create. So again, Kanye West, as far as what he was saying on Drink Champs, I would say he was spot on. And I think that's what got a lot of people in this crazy uproar on social media. And again, Kanye West has to protect his neck because they're coming after him. And I mean, it seems everyone is. And before I go, I just want to say this, that Nori, I mean, I kind of lost all respect for Nori. Yeah, I liked his music, his art form, and on occasions I did watch Drink Champs. I enjoyed the content that he creates on his show. But when I heard him backpedaling and distancing himself from Kanye West, because it seems as though, I don't know, maybe I'm surprised that again that Revolt, which is owned by Diddy, even allowed them to have Kanye West on for a third time. After the second, I mean, literally, this was like within months or weeks. His second one was about the t-shirt, and then he comes back on, and it's almost seemed like it's like a setup, because they know he's gonna talk. And Kanye West is worth billions. So when an individual has that type of income or that type of wealth, they have no reason to hold their tongue. They have no reason to hold back. Their opinions are their opinions, and they're not afraid to express them. Again, freedom of speech. But again, I think Nori is a clown for what he did. And then right after he went on this parade of apology and of being ashamed, and that he should have he should have taken more control of his show, and that he really didn't pay attention because how it was set up when the show was being recorded, that Kanye West met with the producers, and the producers, the only reason, and Kanye West said, I would do the show though if and only I could have my own film crew. Very smart on Kanye West's behalf. Yes, he's controlling the narrative. I like that. And they agreed. So yes, maybe Nori and his production crew and Revolt and the execs over at Revolt, yeah, maybe they scrubbed it off of their website and taken it off of YouTube, but there is still footage. So if anyone tried to take anything Kanye West said out of context and tried to use it against him as an anti-Semite or racist or whatever you want to call it, he has his own footage. He controls the narrative. I have to say, hands down to Kanye West, because that was a smart move. I like that. Very intelligent man. People may think that he's crazy, but he's very intelligent. And not only because he's an artist, he's a thinker. He's very intelligent. So, thank you so much for listening in tonight. Of course, we went on over a little. Actually, this is the longest podcast that I've ever did. It's like close to 40 minutes. But if you stayed to the end, thank you so much for listening. Tell me what you think. Add your comments. Because this is a very hot topic, very trending topic. So, I don't know, let me know what you think. Until next time, thanks so much for listening. This is Billy Flint Experience. I am Billy Flint. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. Be safe.